60-year-old Karen unleashed my inner demon after queue jumping. Lunchtime at my local cafe, and I'm waiting patiently behind a customer being served at the counter ordering her lunch. I'm here to order a coffee on my lunch break. Then in comes Karen. Karen walks in from the side and stands with her friend, the lady in front of me paying for her order. She talks with her, asking what she ordered, etc. It was all just a smoke and mirror conversation to try hide the fact she wanted to queue jump. Then her friend leaves and Karen is left there now ordering her lunch. My blood started to boil furiously. Karen had many questions about the menu too, then ordered coffee and asked for a loyalty card. I'm standing there and I swear the room was filling up with the steam blowing out of my ears. I needed to say something and decided I'd wait until she ordered just to make my point. So as she left, I said to her to next time take her position in the queue rather than push in. Karen tried to pretend she didn't realize there was an issue and said her and her friend had the same table number. I replied that makes zero difference as she was ordering and paying separately. I also said I thought she knew exactly what she was doing. Seriously, these people are so entitled, they cannot wait 1 extra minute to place their order. Today I fucked up by accidentally sleeping in my neighbor's bed. So last night I went out drinking with some friends. It wasn't anything crazy, we just did some bar hopping and had some tequila shots. I usually don't drink much, so by midnight I was basically running on autopilot. I called an Uber, got dropped off, and stumbled up the stairs in my apartment building and let myself in. At least I thought I did. The door wasn't locked, which I thought was weird, but in my drunk brain I figured I probably forgot to lock it earlier. I went straight to the bedroom, threw my clothes on the floor, and crashed. A couple hours later I woke up to someone screaming like they saw a murder. I jumped up and there was this woman standing in the doorway holding a lamp like she was about to whack me. Turns out I wasn't in my apartment. I had walked into my neighbor's 1 floor down. The layouts are identical, so drunk me didn't notice a thing. Apparently her roommate had just left the door unlocked after coming home, and I just wandered in. She called the cops. I had to explain to 2 very unimpressed officers that I wasn't trying to break in. I was just an idiot who can't handle tequila and doesn't know which floor she lives on. Luckily, my upstairs neighbor vouches for me, but it was still a super humiliating walk of shame that I've ever done. Tracked down and confronted Lyft driver that stole my AirPods. I was visiting some friends in another city and I dropped my AirPods in the back of a Lyft leaving a bar. Realized. The next morning, sent the guy a lost item report. He claims he doesn't have them. I go back home and forget about it until about a day later I see in Find My that they were being charged and actively used. I see them moving all around the city as a driver would. Now, I'm not usually a spiteful person, but that was brazen theft. Unlucky for him, I had some free time, and 2 weekends later, I tracked him down in a car with those same friends. Find My led us to a Chuck E. Cheese, and we found his car in the lot. I explained the situation to the security guard and showed him a picture of the Lyft driver. The security guard led us right to him, and I asked him, "Are you?" I took his name, to which he nervously responded yes. I just bluntly said, "You stole my AirPods." His family had to all leave the Chuck E. Cheese to his car parked in the lot, and I got to watch him awkwardly put them back in the case and hand them to me. I felt bad, but come on, doing that is insane. My boyfriend likes to wake me up in the middle of the nights. I've been struggling with this for almost 3 months, ever since we started living together. For context, my boyfriend is currently jobless, and I'm the only one working. He often wakes me up in the middle of the night, even though I have to take sleeping pills because I have trouble sleeping. I usually end up feeling mad and exhausted because I need to work the next day, and I can't fall asleep before 11 p.m. Almost every night he expects sex, and if I ignore him, he becomes grumpy walking around the room making noise or turning on loud music, and in the end, I give in even though I'm not happy, just so I can get some peace and be able to sleep before work. Last night I reached my limit. I was sick and had already taken my sleeping pills, but he still tried to wake me up because he wanted sex again. When I opened my eyes, I saw that same unhappy expression on his face, and it made me feel so hurt. He also has this habit of making me feel guilty or weak, like reminding me that I'm stressed every day or often depressed as if it's my fault. Whenever I try to explain something he did wrong, he twists the story and says my brain just doesn't remember things right, making me doubt myself. To be honest, he acts like such a good guy when he's around friends or other people, but with me, it's completely different. I've told him many times how unhappy and unmatched we are, but he doesn't listen. He's like a stone, always making me feel like I'm the problem or like I don't know how to live a normal life. What should I do? Today, I fucked up by asking my sister what day our parents' anniversary is. I, female 23, asked my sister, 29, yesterday what day our parents' anniversary is. She stared blankly at me and asked what I meant. I reiterated that I was curious when the anniversary of my parents' marriage is, She looked at me like I was stupid and told me our parents are divorced. Apparently they divorced about 2 years ago and I was never told. She said they divorced because they both fell out of love and were constantly annoyed with each other. I've been incredibly busy with college the last 4 years, and the only times I've seen them was for holidays and some of the summer. I have an apartment and I've spent my summers with friends other than occasional meetups and days out with my mom and sister. My dad and I have never been close, so it's not like he would have told me. And my mom isn't a very social person when it comes to feelings. Has this happened to anyone else? Dickish kid doesn't give up train seats, so I make him. 22 male. Had to take the metro to go somewhere today, and it was pretty full, but I noticed that there was a teenager, 16 male, taking up 5 spaces with his bag, and him laying down, and he was playing music loudly with his phone. I politely asked him to move his bag so I could sit, and he rolled his eyes, smirked, and said, "Nah, I don't think so, man." This annoyed me greatly. And if it weren't for his tone and the music, I probably wouldn't have escalated harder, but I just grabbed his bag, felt the weight to check for electronics, and then threw it somewhere further along the train. Of course, he instantly got mad and asked me what the fuck I was doing and that I better go get his bag. Then I just told him he could either fight me or go get his bag himself. Unfortunately, I'm 90 kilograms and pretty strong, and he was some lanky teenager. I don't think he expected that, but after 5 seconds he went to get his bag. I took the space and invited other standing people to go sit down. He came back to no space and started yelling at us. I reminded him again that the only way I would move were if he would start a fight with me. Again, he seemed to consider, but ended up storming away eventually. I get that I'm kind of a bully in this situation, but man, some people just need to learn that the world doesn't cater to them. Upstairs neighbor was loud, so I had to be louder. A few years ago, I had an upstairs neighbor at the apartment complex I was living in. Every night, he would play loud music. I had work early in the morning, so I would have to go to bed early. A few times I spoke to him and asked him if he could turn it down a bit, and he would always say, "No, I live here too." I tried earplugs, but the noise still kept me up. So I decided to make my own kind of noise. In the morning, when I woke up for work, I would drop things on the hardwood floors that we had. And if the sound wasn't loud enough, I would throw them on the floor. When I left to go to work, I would slam the door so hard that I thought the door would come off its hinges. After a few days, he came to me and asked why I was so loud in the morning. I said it's because I got a terrible night's sleep and was so tired that I kept dropping things. He said he would turn down the music at night, and I never had a problem with him again. I live in the United States. The first floor is the ground floor. There was nobody below me. Am I the asshole for telling my coworker she can't bring her toddler into my workspace even though it's just for a few minutes? I, 35 female, work in a small graphic design studio. The layout is open plan. I share my desk with another designer, Tara, and we are very near to one another. Tara has a 2-year-old daughter she occasionally brings to work. Usually that means the kid plays quietly with toys in her mother's lap or in a corner. I don't mind that sometimes. Yesterday though, Tara asked if she could bring her toddler into my side of the desk for just 10 minutes while she grabbed something from her car. The child ended up touching my keyboard, scribbling on papers, and crying loudly. I asked her to not bring the child to my side. Tara got upset, said I was being inflexible, that it's just 10 minutes. I believe boundaries in workspace are important. I don't want my work messed with, my things touched, or having loud crying near me. This was uncomfortable. This happened about 2 hours ago, and it was freaking uncomfortable. So a dude comes in and heads to the beer cooler. He comes out with a couple cans of White Claws. The policy of my store is that we have to ID for all alcohol purchases, no exceptions. You could be 70 years old and I'd still have to card you. I know this policy is a bit far-fetched, but hey, I have to enforce it. The guy comes up to the counter, I scan the drinks and ask for an ID. Then the guy giggles and says, "Come on, girl, I'm old enough to be your daddy." Bio daddy, stepdaddy, sugar daddy, any of those were his exact words. I told him I had to see ID as it was store policy. He made that annoying giggle again and handed me the ID. As I was scanning it, he said, "Come on, say it." I asked him what he meant, and he said, "Come on, I'm your daddy, call me daddy." I didn't answer that. I completed the sale and told him to have a nice night. Luckily, he left without a fight. Dang, that may have been the single most uncomfortable thing that's happened to me while working at this store. Am I the asshole for texting my neighbor about an underage house party? My neighbors and I are pretty chill. We talk a lot, get along well, and I even house sit when they're gone. This past weekend, they went out of state and let their niece and nephew, aged 15 and 17, hang out at the house. They texted me to explain that they would be gone and that the niece and nephew would have some friends over. Additionally, they said to reach out if anything seemed concerning. Around midnight one night, I noticed a bunch of people going in and out of the house, but figured it was just whatever friends were over. Shortly after, the police showed up. Immediately, I texted my neighbors to see if they were aware. After no response from my neighbors or any of their family members, I gave up and kept an eye on things, but did not interfere. The police had left without doing much of anything. There were approximately 50 people at this party, all underage, and no parents or responsible adults. Cars were coming and going, dropping people off and picking them up. It was chaotic, loud, and I saw quite a bit of alcohol. I texted my neighbors to let them know that my family was extremely worried about the situation and felt that it was unsafe for multiple reasons, underage drinking being one of them. Aside from that, it was loud, and there were strangers walking all around the neighborhood at 1 a.m. My neighbors seemed to think this was totally fine and explained the teens were supervised. The supervision was the parents of the niece and nephew texting them to make sure things were fine. They even seemed to be quite annoyed that I brought it up in the first place. Was I out of line by texting my neighbors? Is this something that isn't a big deal? Am I the asshole for wanting to insure the necklace my husband got me? This one has been on my mind this last week and couldn't help but post it. About a month ago, my husband bought me this beautiful gold necklace for my birthday. It's very simple but super elegant, one of those pieces you instantly fall in love with, or at least I did, and it was very thoughtful of him. The thing is, it's also pretty valuable. I've had jewelry stolen before, and I've lost smaller pieces over the years, like a ring at the gym or an earring on vacation, so this time I thought, why not insure it? It's not about expecting something bad to happen, just about being smart in case it does. When I mentioned it to him, he got super defensive. He said it takes away from the meaning, and that by insuring it, I'm treating his gift like an object rather than something special. I told him it's literally the opposite. I want to protect it because it is special to me. That conversation didn't really go well, and I've brought it up about 2 times more, and his expressions changes instantly. I have no idea why he would react like that. Now I feel very bad. I didn't mean to offend him at all, just wanted peace of mind. So am I the asshole for wanting to insure a necklace my husband gave me? Today, I fucked up by wearing see-through pants to the gym. Alright, this morning I decided to hit the gym early and wear a pair of leggings I haven't used in a very long time. They looked fine at home, but under the gym lights they basically turned into X-ray vision. I didn't realize until I caught the guy on the treadmill behind me looking for a little too long. I rushed to the mirror, and when I turned around, yep, full moon. I panicked, grabbed my hoodie, and tied it around my waist like I was back in middle school. Of course, that didn't help much because by then, half the gym had already seen me doing squats in see-through pants. I finished one set just to pretend I wasn't embarrassed, then bailed. I'm honestly debating if I need to find a whole new gym now because I don't think I can show my face there again. Am I the asshole for working past midnight in my dorm? My roommate, 19, male, sleeps only a couple feet from my desk and requests all lights off in the room, including my monitors, and no sound, meaning I can't type on the extra quiet keyboard I bought, past 12 a.m. He also has blackout curtains for context, which I've told him interfere with my ability to wake up in the morning, but I've let him keep them. Sometimes I need to be working past midnight and can't just leave the dorm because having multiple monitors and a keyboard helps me, especially since I'm a CS major. I told him to just get an eye mask if the light from 2 monitors facing away from him is that much of a problem, but he said even the sound of a keyboard, specifically designed to be quiet, would keep him up, and he wants me out of the room completely while he sleeps. Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for telling my husband to not bring his sick ex to our house and not get personally involved in nursing? So I am 35 and my husband is 39. We have been married for 5 years. Before marrying to me, he was with his high school sweetheart for a decade. Apparently they had compatibility issues and then lost contact. Now his ex has got a kidney failure and is on dialysis and has come in our city for treatment. And according to my husband, she contacted my husband through a mutual friend. And now my husband wants to help her. Very politely, I had asked my husband, does she not have her own people to help and nurse her? Why contact him all of a sudden after years? My husband was pissed and said, how can I be so petty and immature regarding a patient asking such stupid questions and that he expects better from me? Then I said, if the situation is so dire, then let's get her a place in our flat in other locality. And if you are so adamant, then let's finance her nursing facility. And what is need for getting personally involved like a nurse? And that I don't want to get involved in personally nursing his ex or in her medical recovery process in person, nor do I want to go to see her in hospital with him. and my husband said he is just disappointed in me that I am showing jealousy over a long-ended relationship and cannot show maturity even with a patient. So, am I the asshole? Today I fucked up by calling a smoothie bowl fat. This happened a few weeks ago. My husband and I frequently visit a smoothie place on the weekends after working out. A few Saturdays ago, as per usual, we stopped by to get our post-workout snack. They know us enough that we all clearly recognize each other when we go in, and our order is always the same: a smoothie for me and a smoothie bowl for my husband. We saw our order was almost ready, so we walked towards the counter as the lovely, larger lady making our smoothies was trying to put a lid on my husband's bowl. As I got closer, I noticed she had really hooked it up and had loaded the bowl to the brim, so I said, "Ooh, she's a fat one." But then the lady suddenly looked a bit flustered, and I thought it was weird, but shrugged it off. And as we grabbed our goods and turned to leave, I could see my husband was fighting for his life, and when we got outside, he insisted that the lady thought I was calling her a fat one, not the smoothie bowl. I was mortified but couldn't get myself to go in and clarify it with her, so we drove away, and now my husband will periodically say, "She's a fat one," to me and crackle as I shrink in horror. I am further mortified by the fact that we have literally not seen her working since, and I seriously hope it wasn't because of that incident. Please comment your thoughts and opinions down below, and see you in the next one.